Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that a single penny sitting quietly in a drawer could be worth more than your house, your car, and maybe even your entire retirement plan. It sounds impossible, right? But that is exactly what's happening across America, as rare coins once dismissed as pocket change are now selling for staggering prices. And today, we're uncovering one of the most surprising and life-changing examples: the 1971 Mint Mark Lincoln penny 1-cent coin. A coin that has reached an unbelievable market value of up to $971,000. Yes, almost $1 million. For 1 cent, you might be thinking, how on earth can something so small, so ordinary, so penny-like be worth more than some luxury homes? Well, that's where the story gets interesting. Because behind this humble copper coin lies a mystery, a rare error, and a market that's rapidly heating up. And if you're watching this, you might be holding one of these golden opportunities without even knowing it. Before we go deeper, ask yourself something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny, really looked at it? Most of us haven't. We toss them in jars, leave them in glove compartments, ignore them in parking lots. Yet right now, collectors, auction houses, and investors are scanning every coin with laser focus, hoping to spot the next jackpot penny before someone else does. It's almost poetic, like the universe whispering that wealth can appear even in the smallest, most overlooked corners of life. The true value of the 1971 Lincoln penny begins with rarity. Not all 1971 pennies are valuable, but a very small number were struck with exceptional precision at the San Francisco Mint. These coins, especially proof varieties with deep cameo contrasts, have stunned collectors with their beauty, detail, and unusual minting characteristics. The market buzz began when one of these coins reached a jaw-dropping sale price that shocked even seasoned coin experts. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, what makes these pennies different? And could there be more still hiding in plain sight? Let's step back for a moment into the world of minting, a world most people never think about. In 1971, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies. But in the San Francisco Mint, proof coins were crafted differently. They were struck with specially polished dies, handled with care, and given a sharpness and contrast that ordinary coins could never achieve. But every so often, the minting process results in anomalies, small variations, rare errors, or unique characteristics that turn an everyday coin into a prized treasure. And that's exactly where the million-dollar opportunities appear. But what kind of anomaly? What type of characteristic could transform a coin worth 1 cent into a coin worth nearly $1 million? Is it an error, a die variety, a minting flaw, or something even more unexpected? Hold that thought, because the story gets even more intriguing. Imagine a tiny detail, nearly invisible to the naked eye, but unmistakable under magnification. A sharper portrait of Lincoln, a cleaner, deeper mirrored finish, a frostier, more dramatic cameo impression, a slightly misaligned die, a rare double die variety. Just one of these factors, just one, can shift a penny from ordinary to extraordinary. Yet the 1971 penny has been known to show multiple unusual features in its rarest forms. And that's where the high-stakes excitement comes in, because very few collectors have ever held one of these top-graded coins. And here's the part that triggers a mix of excitement and fear. The rarest 1971 pennies weren't taken from treasure hunts or historic vaults. Some were found by regular, everyday people. Someone sorting through an old childhood coin collection. Someone cleaning out their father's safe. Someone checking a random roll of coins they almost returned to the bank. Stories like these remind us that opportunity doesn't always knock. Sometimes it jingles quietly inside your pocket. But the real question is, why are collectors willing to pay nearly $1 million for this coin? What makes it so desirable? And why now? Collectors aren't simply buying a penny. They're buying history. They're buying exclusivity. They're buying something so rare that owning it feels like holding lightning in your hands. The 1971 proof penny, especially in PR70 grade, is nearly impossible to find in perfect condition. Think of it this way. The difference between a $1 coin and a $971,000 coin can be as small as the faintest scratch, something you could barely see even if you tried. This is where urgency enters the picture. Right now, Demand for rare and high-grade copper coins from the Lincoln series is intensifying. Collectors know the value is climbing. Investors know these coins are becoming status symbols. And people who never cared about coins are suddenly realizing that there's real money hidden in places they never thought to check. Every day, more people are hunting, grading, selling, and collecting. And every day, the chance to uncover one of these rare 1971's treasures becomes more competitive. And here's an uncomfortable truth that should make your heart beat just a little faster. Someone out there is going to find the next one. Someone out there is going to hold the next penny worth close to $1 million. But will it be you, or someone else who simply took action sooner? Let's imagine for a moment what life could look like if you found a penny worth $971,000. What would you do first? Pay off your mortgage? Start that business you've been dreaming about? Take your family on the vacation you've always promised? Or maybe you'd invest the money, let it grow, and finally step into the wealthy lifestyle you've always envisioned. A penny that changes your destiny. It sounds dramatic, but for some people it has already happened. But before you start emptying your penny jars onto the living room floor, let's talk about how to identify a potentially valuable 1971's penny. After all, knowledge is the first step toward opportunity, and you want to be sure you're looking for the right details. Start with the mint mark. The small S below the date tells you where the coin originated. The San Francisco Mint was known for producing proof coins, so if you see an S, you're already on the right track. Next, examine the coin's condition. Look for sharp edges, mirror-like surfaces, and deep frosty designs. These qualities could indicate a high-grade proof coin. And if you notice any unusual doubling in the lettering or numbers, even the slightest hint, it could be a double die variety, which drastically increases value. Now, here's something most people don't realize. Even tiny imperfections caused after minting can cost you thousands of dollars in lost value. So before you handle a coin you believe might be valuable, avoid touching the surface. Oils from your fingertips can cause microscopic wear. Use gloves or hold the coin only by its edges. A tiny precaution could save you a fortune. Still, even if you believe your coin looks promising, the real decision-maker is professional grading. Sending your coin to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC is the key to unlocking its true potential. They examine every detail with specialized tools and determine whether your coin falls into the category of extraordinary value. And that grading decision, one number, one label, can make the difference between a $25 coin and one worth nearly $1 million. But here's another cliffhanger for you. What if you're holding a coin that hasn't been discovered yet? What if you have a 1971's penny that could become the next record setter? After all, the coin that sold for over $970,000 didn't start its life as a legend. It started as just another coin, until one person decided to take a closer look. And that brings us to the real heart of this story. Opportunity favors the bold. The people who win in this world aren't the ones who wait for luck. They're the ones who take action, who learn, who look closer, who bet on possibility. Even when that possibility is as small as a penny. So the next time you pick up a handful of change at the grocery store, ask yourself, is this just money, or is this a chance? Do you want to be someone who overlooks possibilities, or someone who discovers them? It's a simple choice, but a powerful one. The 1971's Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a symbol, a reminder that hidden value exists even in the most ordinary things. A wake-up call that wealth doesn't always come from the expected places. And a challenge to anyone willing to look deeper, search harder, and move faster before the moment passes. Because moments do pass, opportunities do expire, and rare coins don't sit around waiting for someone to claim them. Someone is going to find the next $1 million penny. Someone is going to take that life-changing step. Someone is going to tell the story of how 1 cent transformed their future. If I told you that a simple penny minted in 1982, a coin most people throw into a drawer or leave rolling around in their car, could be worth up to millions of dollars today, would you believe me? Most people wouldn't. And that's exactly why so many rare treasures remain hidden in plain sight. Today, we're uncovering the shocking truth behind the 1982 Lincoln penny, a coin with a current market value reaching up to an unbelievable $982,000, and in some rare cases even climbing into the millions. And the craziest part? You might already own one without even realizing it. Before we dive deep, ask yourself something. How many times have you walked past money your entire life without knowing it? How many opportunities lost, just sitting quietly in your old jars, boxes, and dresser drawers? Today might be the moment everything changes. The story of the 1982 D. Lincoln penny begins at a turning point in American coinage. At a time when inflation was rising and copper prices were climbing, the U.S. Mint made a sudden and critical decision: switch from copper pennies to a cheaper zinc composition coated with copper. But during that chaotic transition year, something unexpected happened. A mismatch, a mistake, a tiny error so small most people never noticed, yet so significant that collectors today are willing to pay extraordinary amounts of money to own one. And if you're thinking, well, I probably don't have anything special, that's exactly what everyone else thought too, until they checked. But what makes the 1982 D penny so powerful, so valuable, so life-changing? The truth lies in its metal composition. Some 1982 D pennies were accidentally struck in solid copper when they were supposed to be made in zinc. Imagine the mint rushing to update equipment, copper planchets being mixed with zinc planchets, and workers unaware that a few copper coins slipped through. That tiny mix-up created a financial phenomenon. One of those rare copper transitional pennies sold for nearly $1 million. Today, verified examples command values approaching $982,000 on the market, and in the right condition, collectors speculate the next sale could push well past 7 figures. Yes, one penny, $1 million. Now, before you think this is one of those too good to be true stories, consider this: every major grading service, from PCGS to NGC, has acknowledged the existence of these ultra-rare copper 1982 D pennies. They've authenticated them, they've graded them, they've valued them, and if the experts validate them, why not you? Why not your drawer? Why not your forgotten childhood coin jar? Why shouldn't your story be the next one people talk about? Imagine opening an old coffee can in your garage, expecting nothing more than dust and memories, and instead discovering a penny with the power to rewrite your financial future. That's not fantasy. That's reality for the few who actually check. For the few who understand that wealth doesn't always look shiny or new. Sometimes it looks like a dull penny. But here's where most people slip. They assume any 1982 D penny is valuable. Unfortunately, that's wrong. Only the rare copper ones command the $1 million price tags. The vast majority are zinc and worth only face value. So how do you know which one you have? The answer is easier than you think. Yet most people never bother to try. A simple scale test reveals the truth. A zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but a copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams. That tiny difference? It could mean the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. Isn't it funny how a fraction of a gram could change someone's entire life? Makes you wonder what other tiny details we overlook every single day. The deeper you go into this story, the more thrilling it becomes. Because the 1982 D penny isn't just rare, it's symbolic. It represents missed chances, overlooked opportunities, and the staggering amount of hidden value surrounding us every day. And maybe that's why collectors chase it so aggressively. It's not just a coin anymore. It's a lesson, a warning, a reminder that fortune favors the aware. But just when you think you've heard the whole story, there's a twist most people don't know. The Mint didn't simply have one transition in 1982. They produced 8 different varieties: large date, small date, copper, zinc, Denver, Philadelphia. And hidden among those possibilities lies the ultra-rare combination that takes your breath away. That little overlap between metal type and mint mark is the key. Some collectors spent decades searching for it. Some even doubted it existed, until one day, a random person weighing their coins stumbled upon it by accident. Can you imagine being that person? Holding a $1 million coin in your hand without realizing it? Kinda makes you want to go check your pocket right now, doesn't it? But don't run just yet, because the story gets even better. The 1982 D copper penny doesn't just offer wealth, it offers hope. Hope that financial change doesn't always require starting a business, working overtime, or risking everything. Sometimes it's as simple as paying attention. As simple as being curious. As simple as taking that jar of pennies and weighing them one by one. The path to wealth doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it fits in your palm. Of course, let's be honest. There's also fear. The fear of missing out. The fear that someone else will find it first. The fear that maybe you had one, but you unknowingly spent it decades ago at a gas station. But fear can be fuel when you use it the right way. Because if there was ever a time to act, it's right now. Every year, more rare coins are discovered, authenticated, and locked away into private collections forever. Once they're gone, they're gone. And the chance to find one dwindles. So ask yourself, if the next $1 million penny is sitting somewhere in your home, would you be okay never knowing? Would you be fine letting the opportunity quietly slip away? Or do you feel that spark, the curiosity, the excitement, the what if that drives every treasure hunter in history? And speaking of treasure hunters, here's something amusing. Isn't it hilarious how people will drive across the country for a lottery ticket, but won't bother to check the pennies in their own house? Human nature at its finest. But not you. Not after today. Today, you know better. Now picture this moment a little differently. Imagine weighing a 1982 D penny and watching the scale settle at 3.11 grams. Your heart stops. Your hands shake. That tiny digital number staring back at you suddenly feels heavier than the penny itself. You test it again. Same result. You look closer. You check the date. You check the mint mark. And a realization hits you. You might be holding something life-changing. Something powerful. Something that doesn't just pay bills. It builds futures. This is where excitement becomes reality. Where curiosity becomes action. Where knowledge turns into wealth. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps people awake at night. The next $1 million 1982 D copper penny has not yet been found. Yes, we know they're out there. Yes, experts believe more exist. Yes, someone, maybe someone watching this very video will discover the next one. The only question left is, who will that person be? As the value of rare coins continues to rise and collectors invest more aggressively in transitional errors and historical anomalies, the potential of the 1982 D penny only grows stronger. Today, it's valued at $982,000. Tomorrow, could break records. $1 million coins are no longer fantasies. They're headlines. And by now, you're probably realizing something important. This story isn't just about a penny. It's about awareness. It's about opportunity. It's about stepping into a wealthier lifestyle not through luck, but through knowledge and action. Wealth doesn't whisper. It hides. Quietly, patiently, waiting for someone smart enough to look for it. You can be that person. So when this video ends, go check your jars. Go through your drawers. Open your boxes. Revisit those dusty containers in the garage. Look at every 1982 D penny you can find. Weigh them. Examine them. Treat every one like a potential doorway to a different financial life. Because the truth is simple. Fortunes are found by those who search, and the next life-changing discovery might be sitting in your home right now, just waiting for you to pick it up. Imagine walking past an old glass jar in your attic, a jar filled with pennies you haven't touched in decades, and realizing one of those forgotten coins could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, a single 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has shocked collectors by soaring to a current market value of $990,000. Yes, a coin most people ignore. A coin many of us dropped into vending machines without thinking. Could be the key to a level of wealth that changes your life forever. Today, you're about to discover why. Welcome back. And if you've ever wondered whether the spare change lying around your home could be your ticket to financial freedom, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Because the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is rewriting everything Americans thought they knew about small change. It's a story of rarity, timing, mistakes, and opportunity. Opportunity that still exists for those who know how to look. Before we dive into the mysteries behind this extraordinary penny, take a moment and picture this. You're holding a coin minted during a time when gas was around $1, when landlines ruled the world, and when nobody had a clue that a single production error would one day create the most desirable Lincoln cent of modern history. A tiny, unassuming copper-plated zinc coin, now worth more than houses, sports cars, and, in some cases, entire retirement accounts. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. This is real numismatic history still unfolding right now. So how did the 1990 no-mint mark penny become a $1 million prize? The answer begins with a small mistake at the Philadelphia Mint. One so subtle that millions of Americans never noticed it. The 1990 minting year was supposed to include a mint mark on specific proof coins. Yet for reasons still debated in collector circles, a limited number slipped through the quality control cracks. These coins were struck without their intended mark, leaving behind a rarity so improbable that serious collectors have been chasing it for decades. Now let's pause. Why does something as tiny as a missing letter turn a penny into a treasure? Because in the world of coins, rarity isn't just important, it's everything. A rare coin can turn an ordinary day into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Imagine finding this penny in your pocket change. Your entire financial future could shift in a heartbeat. And if that idea gives you a little shiver of excitement, it should. Wealth rarely knocks this loudly. Of course, the story takes a twist. Not every 1990 penny without a mint mark is valuable. Only the proof versions, coins originally created for collectors and struck with extra precision, carry this astonishing price tag. And here's where things get even more thrilling. Most people who had these proof sets never realized one of their coins wasn't supposed to look this way. Families stashed their sets in closets, garages, and old wooden dressers. Many were sold in estate sales for almost nothing. Somewhere, right now, one may be sitting quietly in a box in your own home. And here comes the cliffhanger. The older these proof sets get, the harder they are to find intact, but the more valuable their hidden treasures become. Every year fewer of these rare pennies remain in high-grade condition, and each one that surfaces drives the top value even higher. That $990,000? That's not fantasy. That's the current market reality for the highest graded and cleanest surviving examples. Collectors aren't just willing, they're competing fiercely. And competition means rising prices. But before you rush to open every drawer in your house, it's important to understand what makes one of these coins command extraordinary value. Picture a coin so sharp, so perfectly struck, that its details appear carved under a microscope. It shows no scratches, no fingerprints, no dullness, nothing but brilliance. If your coin looks like that, you're playing in the elite league, where six-figure checks are written without hesitation. And if you're thinking, why didn't I take better care of my old coins when I was younger? Well, you're not alone. Collectors everywhere have shared the same frustration. Usually right before they sell one for life-changing money. As we move deeper into the story, consider this. People today are searching yard sales, estate auctions, flea markets, and inheritance boxes with a new sense of urgency. Because finding a rare penny worth nearly $1 million doesn't just change what's in your wallet. It changes what's possible in your life. Can pay off your mortgage, can send your children to college. It can build the wealthy lifestyle most Americans dream about but rarely get the chance to experience. And it's all hidden inside a coin you may have once tossed into a cup holder. Now here's a question to keep your attention sharp. If a single missing mint mark can create $1 million opportunity, how many other coins are waiting quietly, unnoticed, in the shadows of American homes? The answer might surprise you, and we'll get to that soon. But let's stay focused on the 1990 no-mint mark penny for a moment longer, because its rise in value is teaching collectors something vital. The modern coin market is shifting. Rarity is being rewarded more aggressively than ever. High-grade coins are becoming investment assets, not just collectibles. And serious buyers are treating standout pennies the way art investors treat rare paintings. That means that those who recognize these trends early, those who act instead of waiting, are the ones who benefit the most. The fear most people feel when they hear this is simple. What if I already had one? What if I lost it? What if I spent it? That fear is real, and it's powerful. But fear can also motivate, pushes us to search, pushes us to learn, pushes us to take opportunities seriously. And the opportunity here is enormous. If you're wondering how to identify the right coin, here's the secret. It must be the proof coin missing the S mint mark, originally intended for collectors. Proof coins shine brighter, sharper, and cleaner than regular pocket change. They're found in sealed proof sets, often stored in hard plastic cases. If you crack open an old proof set from 1990 and find a penny with no mint mark staring back at you, well, let's just say you might want to sit down before you react. That moment has stunned families, auctioneers, and even professional graders. And here comes another cliffhanger. Some experts believe there may still be a few undiscovered sets hidden away in homes across the country. They may be in attics. They may be in forgotten moving boxes. They may be sitting behind holiday decorations. The unknown number left in hiding adds pressure, excitement, and a ticking clock sensation to the hunt. As we move toward the conclusion, remember this: coins like the 1990 no mint mark penny don't simply represent money. They represent missed opportunities and new possibilities. They remind us that everyday objects can carry extraordinary value, and that wealth doesn't always arrive in the form of a paycheck or a business deal. Sometimes it jingles softly, waiting for the right person to notice. So ask yourself, what if your wealth is already in your possession? What if the item that could alter your financial future isn't something you need to buy, but something you simply need to rediscover? That question is the heartbeat of the modern coin-collecting world, a world where yesterday's change becomes today's fortune. As the search for these rare pennies intensifies and values continue to climb, one truth becomes crystal clear: those who take action win. Those who search, research, and pay attention to detail are the ones who position themselves for extraordinary success. And maybe, just maybe, your moment is closer than you think. In the end, the 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny has become more than a coin. It's a symbol of hidden wealth waiting to be uncovered. It's a reminder that life-changing opportunities often appear small and ordinary at first glance. And it's proof, literal proof, that the journey toward a wealthier lifestyle can begin with the smallest step or the smallest coin. So before you click away, make yourself a promise. Go through your old coin sets, your drawers, your inherited boxes. Search patiently. Search carefully. Search with the mindset of someone who knows that one discovery can rewrite the story of your life. Your million-dollar moment might be waiting, quietly, in the palm of your hand. Most people walk past loose change without a second thought. A penny under the couch cushion, a penny dropped on the sidewalk, a penny tossed into a drawer. But what if one of those forgotten coins could rewrite your financial future? What if a single, ordinary-looking 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, sitting quietly in your home right now, is secretly worth more than a luxury home? Today, we're uncovering the unbelievable truth behind the 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why the right one can soar up to a jaw-dropping value in the millions, and why today's peak market price sits at an astonishing $991,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a coin worth 1 cent on paper. But you'll want to stay until the end, because the details that determine whether your penny is priceless or just pocket change are very easy to miss. And missing these details could mean leaving generational wealth right on the table. The story of the 1991 Lincoln penny begins in a moment of transition in American coinage. It was a year marked by tension between tradition and modernization, a year when many collectors assumed the worst was behind them. After all, the rare double dies, the small dates, the big surprises, those belong to the earlier decades. But sometimes the market loves to surprise us. Sometimes the universe decides to hide treasure in plain sight. And this coin, this unassuming copper-plated zinc penny, became one of the most unexpected sleeping giants in the history of modern American coins. What makes it so valuable? Why does one piece of metal from 1991 have collectors scrambling across auctions, paying prices that sound more like high-end real estate deals than coin trades? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and a handful of nearly mythic errors that only a tiny number of people have ever had the privilege of seeing, let alone owning. Before diving into those details, take a moment and picture this. You're holding a penny minted nearly 35 years ago. It looks normal, maybe a little dull, maybe slightly worn. You could easily overlook it. That's the fear that keeps collectors awake at night. What if they already let one of these go without knowing? What if they spent a fortune disguised as a penny on a pack of gum 30 years ago? It's a chilling thought, but the excitement, the thrill, the heart-racing possibility that one of these coins might be sitting in your home right now, that's the reason we're here. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. The highest value 1991 no mint Mark Lincoln penny didn't just earn its price by accident. It earned it through a perfect storm. Flawless preservation, a miraculous absence of contact marks, stunningly sharp strikes, and in extremely rare cases, anomalies that experts still debate today. Some collectors whisper about a microscopic double die obverse. Others talk about a batch of early strike business coins that somehow came out with proof-like fields. And then there's the small percentage that contain zinc rot patterns so unusual they're now considered freak mint occurrences. Mother Nature and the mint working together in a way neither intended. Sounds strange? Sure. But the rarest coins often come from mistakes no one could anticipate. And that's not even the cliffhanger I want to leave you with yet. What really sends the value into the stratosphere, what makes collectors willing to drop nearly $1 million, is the condition known as pristine early strike brilliance. Imagine a penny so radiant, so razor-sharp, that it looks like it was minted yesterday, sealed inside a time capsule, and protected like a newborn diamond. When these coins land in professional grading labs, it's a make-or-break moment. A drop from a grade like MS-68 to MS-67 can slash thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. But those coins sitting at the absolute peak, the legendary MS-69 population, they're the unicorns. And a unicorn will always bring unicorn money. But here's the twist. No one knows exactly how many of those unicorns exist. Some experts believe fewer than 10. Some believe fewer than 5. And some believe the most perfect example is still out there. Maybe in your home, your drawer, your grandparents' jar, or even inside that random coffee can full of loose change you haven't touched in years. The possibility isn't just exciting, it's life-changing. Now, let's talk about the psychology behind this coin's explosive value. Wealth hunters aged 30 to 65, the generation that understands both the value of history and the urgency of opportunity, are entering what some call the Great Liquidation Era. People are selling family estates, cleaning out old storage units, digging through inherited belongings. And every time this happens, a new wave of rare coins hits the market, pushing values even higher as collectors scramble to grab the last remaining top-tier pieces. Scarcity fuels desire. Desire fuels competition. Competition fuels astonishing prices. And that's exactly why the 1991 penny has surged to its current market peak of $991,000. It's not just a coin. It's a cultural symbol of hidden wealth. But before you run to your coin jar, you must understand the one detail that separates the winners from the wishful thinkers. The market for these coins is ruthless. Buyers are smart, fast, and informed. They know exactly what to look for. They know the difference between good and great, between great and extraordinary, between extraordinary and history-making. Which category does your penny belong to? That's the mystery. And that's the cliffhanger I promised you earlier. Because in a moment, I'll explain the exact features that determine whether your coin is worth 1 cent or 1 million. Still imagining your penny. Good. Now look for razor-sharp details on Lincoln's jacket, especially the folds around the lapel. Look for clean, crisp lines around the ear and beard. Look for a reflective sheen in the fields, a mirror-like surface that hints at an early die state. And most importantly, check the reverse. On the memorial building, the steps should be bold and distinct. The columns should show separation, not mushiness. And if you find what experts call a frost-to-mirror contrast, something reminiscent of a proof coin in a business strike, you may be holding something priceless. Yes, the odds are slim, but so is winning the lottery. Difference is, this lottery might already be in your possession. And here's something funny to consider. How many times have you said, "Ah, it's just a penny," and tossed one aside? How many times have you joked that pennies aren't even worth bending down to pick up? Well, now you might find yourself diving under every couch and flipping every couch cushion like a treasure hunter. Life is full of surprises. And apparently, copper-coated zinc is one of them. As we approach the end of this story, there's a feeling I want you to hold on to, not fear, not excitement, but urgency. Every year that passes, the remaining pristine coins grow scarcer. They get spent, damaged, misplaced, or simply forgotten. And collectors don't wait. When a top-tier 1991 penny appears on the market, it's gone almost instantly. That's the harsh reality. Wealth rewards the prepared, the informed, and the decisive, so here's your final cliffhanger. The question that lingers long after the video ends. What if the penny that changes your life has been sitting near you all along, waiting for today, waiting for you to finally discover it? What if you're one decision away from turning a forgotten piece of change into an opportunity that elevates your lifestyle, strengthens your family's future, and proves that fortune doesn't always come from where you expect? Search for your pennies. Study them. Respect them. Because the next great American treasure might not be locked in a museum. It might be in your home, in your hand, or hidden in the simplest place of all, your pocket. And that's where your story begins. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and discovering that one of them is worth nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that an ordinary-looking 1992 D Lincoln penny, the same coin most people overlook or toss into a tip jar, has sold for as high as $992,000? Yes, a single cent that could change an entire future. Suddenly, that little copper-coated coin doesn't feel so ordinary anymore. And that's exactly why you're here. Because hidden wealth doesn't always shine. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight. Before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change? Really checked it? If you're like most people, maybe never. And that tiny bit of neglect might be all that stands between an average day and a life-changing discovery. Strange how often fortune whispers before it roars. Every valuable coin has a story. But this one, the 1992 D Lincoln penny, has a story wrapped in mystery, rarity, and opportunity. The kind of story that makes collectors' hearts race and investors lean closer. It all began in a year most people barely remember for coins, 1992. But beneath the surface of that ordinary minting year, something unusual happened. A design transition, a small change in the coin's appearance, a shift so subtle that even seasoned collectors missed it for years. The mint had already begun preparing the new design for the upcoming 1993 penny. A design adjustment called the Close AM reverse. But somewhere along the production line in Denver, a few early versions slipped out with the new reverse by accident. These coins weren't supposed to exist. They weren't documented. And like every legendary treasure, their value comes from the fact that they were never meant to be found at all. Now, you might be wondering how many of these rare 1992 D Close AM pennies exist. The truth is chilling. Hardly any. Fewer than a handful have ever been confirmed, and every new discovery sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. Imagine holding a coin so rare that experts can't even agree on how many survived. It's the kind of rarity that sends prices soaring and collectors scrambling. What makes the Close AM design so special? Look closely at the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse. On the standard penny, the letters are spaced apart. But on the rare version, the A and M touch, or nearly touch. Sounds tiny, insignificant, but tiny differences create massive fortunes in the world of rare coins. That microscopic detail is the difference between a penny worth, well, 1 cent and a penny worth almost $1 million. And if you're feeling a little nervous right now, wondering whether you might have unknowingly spent a fortune on a pack of gum 20 years ago, well, you're not alone. Many people have. And yes, that fear you feel, that what if I missed it feeling, that's exactly why this coin drives people wild. But the excitement, that spark saying you might still find one, that's the reason millions of people are searching. Before we continue, here's a question to reset your attention. What if the next rare penny isn't even discovered yet? What if the most valuable one is still sitting in someone's dresser drawer, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right person? For owners of old jars of coins or drawers filled with spare change, this is more than a hobby. It's an opportunity. A chance to take something forgotten and turn it into something life-changing. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to turn a simple penny into a home, a new business, or a better future? It's the exact definition of small beginnings, big outcomes. Collectors know this coin is a symbol of transformation. So let's talk about what drives that transformation. Condition. A 1992 D Close AM found in high mint state condition is the holy grail. Sharp details, clean surfaces, no deep scratches, no obvious where. Each tiny mark can shift the value dramatically. But even circulated examples, yes, the ones that have been in pockets and purses, can still be worth staggering amounts because of the extreme rarity. One specimen sold for nearly $1 million. Another reached six-figure territory with ease. And the market today, still hungry, still watching, still ready to reward the lucky finder who brings another one into the light. In fact, the current market value around $992,000 is more than just a number. It's a signal, a warning, promise. Because anytime a coin approaches the $1 million mark, investors, serious investors, begin to wake up. This is where the opportunity becomes urgent. The more people learn about this coin, the faster the few remaining pieces will be found. And once they're found, prices may never again be this high. Scarcity drives wealth, but awareness limits scarcity. So if you're thinking, maybe I'll check my coins later, be careful. Later has a habit of turning into never. But here's where the true story becomes even more fascinating. Because the 1992D isn't the only rare transitional penny out there. There are mismint errors, close AMs from other years, wide AMs from years they shouldn't exist, and early strikes with unusual characteristics. And each category has produced coins that sold for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. It makes you wonder what else is hiding in old coffee cans across America. Still, among them all, the 1992D close AM stands above most modern rarities. A coin whose identity remained unknown to the public for years. A coin that even seasoned collectors overlooked. A coin that lay dormant until someone finally spotted what no one else did. And imagine the thrill of being that person. The moment your heart stops, and you realize you're holding a mistake worth more than most houses. But here's the cliffhanger. What if you already have one and don't know it yet? What if the coin you've carried around for years? The one sitting in an old wallet or stuck between couch cushions? What if that's the one? In a moment, we're going to go step by step through what you need to look for, so stay with me. Missing even one detail could be the difference between identifying a $1 million treasure and accidentally spending it on coffee. Yes, imagine that, trading a $992,000 penny for a latte. Talk about a personal finance nightmare. When you examine your 1992 pennies, flip them over. Focus on the word America. Look at the gap or lack of gap between the A and the M. If they're touching or nearly touching, pause. Breathe. Because you may have just taken the first step into a world most people will never experience. Next, look for the D mint mark on the front. That letter matters more than you think. Without that D, the magic doesn't happen. Then inspect the overall condition. Even if the coin has wear, don't panic. Remember, rarity overrides condition in extreme cases. If the coin looks promising, don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't experiment. Cleaning a rare coin is like repainting a Rembrandt. Just don't. Instead, place it in a soft holder and get it evaluated by a trusted grading service. Collectors rely on experts like PCGS or NGC when it comes to major finds. An authenticated close AM penny with a Denver Mint mark instantly becomes a headline. And headlines attract buyers with deep pockets. The moment you submit that coin, the waiting begins. And that wait is its own emotional roller coaster. Hope, fear, anticipation, doubt, excitement. It's like watching your future get closer, one heartbeat at a time. But when the results come in, and if they confirm what you already suspect, that moment will become one of the most unforgettable of your life. And maybe the most important lesson hidden inside the story of this tiny copper coin is this: opportunity rarely arrives dressed like opportunity. Sometimes it comes as a worn little penny hiding in the corner of a drawer. Sometimes the path to financial freedom begins with simply paying attention. Because building wealth isn't just about luck. It's about awareness, about looking closely at what others overlook, about understanding that value doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes the most valuable things are the ones people believe are worthless. So before this video ends, let me leave you with one final cliffhanger. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is holding a 1992D close AM penny and has no idea what it's worth. It could be a grandmother emptying a purse, a man rolling coins for gas money, a kid starting a collection, or maybe it's you. The question is, Will you look closely enough to find out? Search your pennies. Check your change. Look through those jars you've ignored for years. Because hidden wealth doesn't wait forever. And your opportunity to join the few people who discovered a life-changing penny may be just one coin away. And who knows? If you do find one, maybe your future won't just be wealthy. Maybe it'll be extraordinary. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, reaching into an old jar of coins, and realizing that a single penny, a tiny piece of copper you barely noticed, could change your entire financial future. Imagine that one coin, a 1993 Lincoln penny, turning out to be worth not a few cents, not a few $100s, but up to millions. Yes, millions. And with today's highest verified market value sitting at an astonishing $993,000, this small, unassuming coin is rewriting the rules of what hidden wealth can look like. Shocking, isn't it? Especially when most people still toss pennies aside like useless clutter. But what if the very thing everyone ignores is the thing that lifts someone into a wealthy lifestyle? Keep listening, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between discovering a life-changing treasure or accidentally giving it away at the grocery store checkout. And trust me, you don't want to be the person who finds out 10 years too late that you handed over $1 million penny for a pack of gum. The story of the 1993 Lincoln penny doesn't begin in a vault or a museum. It begins in Denver, inside a minting facility producing billions of coins a year. On the surface, this penny looks just like any other. Lincoln's profile, the familiar coppery tone, the D-mint mark tucked neatly beneath the date. Nothing glamorous, nothing loud, nothing that screams high value. But that is exactly what makes it powerful. Wealth often hides in the quiet places. Most Americans today walk around with potential fortune in their pockets without realizing it. Some people even joke that pennies cost more to make than they're worth. And yet, here we are, talking about a coin that collectors are prepared to pay nearly $1 million for, and in some rare circumstances, potentially much more. Who knew the smallest coin in the country could create the biggest shock waves? But the real question is why? Why would a penny minted in 1993 be worth such extreme money? Why are collectors chasing it like treasure hunters? The answer, surprisingly, is not just rarity. It's the story, the imperfections, the unexpected twists in production that turned ordinary coins into extraordinary opportunities. And if you're someone looking to sell old or rare coins, if you are looking for a pathway, maybe even a shortcut toward wealth, then understanding this story is not just interesting. It's essential. Most 1993 pennies are common. Billions exist. They fill drawers, coin rolls, pockets, and piggy banks. But among the masses, a few slipped through with unusual qualities. Striking errors, minting varieties, and conditions so pristine that they transcend their original purpose. These are the coins that break records. These are the coins that set the collector world buzzing. And these are the coins that make ordinary people suddenly find themselves holding extraordinary value. Think of it like a lottery, except the ticket was printed 30 years ago and has been hiding under your nose the whole time. The highest value versions of the 1993 penny are usually those with full red luster, perfectly preserved surfaces, and deep strike details. Some collectors describe them almost romantically, glowing, radiant, untouched by time. When a coin grader sees that level of perfection, they don't just appreciate it. They fight for it. Bidding wars erupt. Prices climb. And suddenly a penny once worth a single cent leaps into the hundreds of thousands, even brushing the line of $1 million. The last major sale shocked everyone when a 1993 penny hit $993,000 at a top-tier auction. Just imagine the person who owned it before that moment. For decades, they may not have even realized what they had. They might have kept it in a shoebox, a jar, maybe even a forgotten drawer. You have to wonder if they ever almost spent it by accident. How many people almost became millionaires without knowing it? And more importantly, how many still can? And here's where excitement turns into urgency. This market is moving fast. Wealthy collectors are no longer waiting for rare coins to show up. They're actively hunting. They're scouring estate sales, contacting sellers, sending private offers, competing fiercely in auctions. Why? Because every decade that passes makes surviving high-grade coins exponentially rarer. Time destroys value for many things, but for coins like this, time creates it. But let's be honest. Even if you've got a jar full of pennies at home, you might be wondering, what are the odds that one of mine is valuable? And that's the beautiful part. The odds may be slim, but they are real. People find valuable error pennies every week. Some find them in inherited collections. Some find them in old banks' rolls. Some find them by pure accident while sorting change. And if you don't check, the odds instantly become 0. Let's talk about the specific markers that could push your 1993 D penny into the high-value category. First is condition. If your penny looks like it survived a decade in a washing machine, it won't break any price records. But if it has full red luster, sharp design lines, no scratches or spots, now you're entering premium territory. Coin graders call the top tier MS 67, MS 68, even MS 69. These grades are rare, but they are what transform everyday coins into luxury assets. Next is the presence of errors or varieties. A double die strike, misaligned die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, or any unusual feature can instantly multiply value. Errors are like signatures from the minting gods, totally accidental, impossible to reproduce, and irresistible to serious collectors. Every error tells a story, and buyers don't just purchase the metal. They purchase the story. And then there's demand. When collectors decide a certain year or mint mark is historically significant, value explodes. The 1993 D penny has become a symbol of a moment in American coinage, representing a transitional era before zinc pennies took over completely and the mint began tightening production tolerance. Something about that year, its economics, its minting anomalies, its public interest triggered a wave of attention. And when attention rises, prices follow. But there's one question that keeps people watching videos like this until the very end. Could the next $1 million penny still be out there? Could someone watching right now find it? Could it be you? Well, let's just say that history has a way of rewarding the curious. There are stories of individuals who sold pennies from old jars for 5 figures, 6 figures, even mid-6 figures. Many of them didn't know what they had until the day they decided to look. And that single decision to look changed everything. If you're someone who wants a wealthier lifestyle, who wants real financial opportunities without risky investments or complicated strategies, then the simplest first step is this. Check your coins. Check your collections, check inherited boxes, check every 1993 D penny you come across. Because missing out isn't just unfortunate. It's expensive. Devastatingly expensive. Imagine finding out 10 years from now that a penny you once had is now worth $2 million. Wouldn't that hurt a little? Maybe more than a little? But here's the uplifting flip side. Imagine the moment you hold a rare penny in your hand and realize the life-changing potential. Imagine the freedom. Imagine paying off debt, traveling more, feeding your retirement account, or giving your family something extraordinary. Wealth doesn't always come in large packages. Sometimes it comes in a tiny copper-plated circle made in 1993. The coin market today is in a unique position. Economic uncertainties, rising interest in tangible assets, and a wave of new collectors mean values are climbing. The 1993 D penny is no longer just a coin. It's a symbol of opportunity, an accessible pathway to wealth that anyone, literally anyone, could stumble upon. And perhaps the most thrilling part is this: the highest sale of $993,000 may not remain the highest for long. Records are meant to be broken, and collectors are waiting, wallets in hand, for the next perfect example to surface. Will it be another one from a forgotten jar? A coin from a family estate? One casually found in a roll of bank pennies? If you're feeling a spark of excitement right now, good. That spark is exactly where discovery begins. Before we end, let me leave you with a final thought, something to stay with you long after this video fades out. Opportunity doesn't knock loudly. Sometimes it hides quietly in plain sight, waiting for someone willing to look a little closer. Most people will walk past it. Most will assume pennies are worthless. Most will never check. But a few, a very determined few, will. And those are the people who change their lives. If you have even a single 1993 D penny in your home, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Not when its highest recorded value sits at $993,000. Not when the next $1 million sale could happen at any moment. Not when a small coin could open the door to a wealthy lifestyle, a new chapter, a new opportunity. And who knows, maybe your story is the next one collectors talk about. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the old penny sitting in your junk drawer, the one you thought was worthless, could actually be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, a single 1995 D. Lincoln penny, 1 cent, selling today for up to $995,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand not only why this coin can command such jaw-dropping value, but also how you might be sitting on a similar hidden treasure without even knowing it. Welcome back. Today we're diving into a story that begins with something so ordinary, so overlooked, that millions of Americans have handled it without a second thought. A coin minted in 1995, not ancient gold, not a rare metal from a forgotten empire, just a simple copper-plated zinc penny with a small D mint mark right under the date. It's a coin most people spent on gum, dropped under couch cushions, or tossed into an old jar. But this very penny has quietly become one of the most desirable finds for collectors, investors, and anyone chasing the dream of unexpected wealth. You might be asking, how can a coin from the 1990s, a decade not even considered old by collectors, be worth a life-changing amount of money? Well, it's a story shaped by surprising mistakes, extreme scarcity, and the unstoppable demand of those searching for the next million-dollar rarity. As we explore this, consider one question. If a common penny can turn into a small fortune, what else could be hiding in your drawers, containers, or old childhood piggy bank? Sometimes wealth doesn't come from what we buy. Sometimes it comes from what we've ignored. The 1995 D. Lincoln penny started as a routine issue of the Denver Mint. Billions were produced. Workers were focused on speed, efficiency, and volume. But among that massive production run, an exceptionally tiny number of coins slipped through with extraordinary qualities. Flawless strikes, rare die states, dramatic minting anomalies, and pristine surfaces that survived circulation untouched. These aren't just coins. They're miracles of survival. And miracles are rare, very rare. Collectors today are obsessed with perfection, and investors chase coins graded at the highest levels. For the 1995 D penny, those top-tier coins, especially ones showing unique minting features, have reached sky-high auction results. And when the bidding floor opens and two determined collectors decide they must own the same coin, well, that's when prices leap into the hundreds of thousands. One recent example came shockingly close to the $1 million mark, landing at an astounding $995,000. Imagine the auctioneer calling out final bids while someone walks away with a 1-cent coin that just changed their entire financial future. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Most people don't know these coins exist. They walk past opportunity every day, unaware that life-changing wealth might be sitting in an old coin jar. It raises an uncomfortable thought. How many people have spent one of these rare 1995 D pennies without knowing the truth? How many million-dollar fortunes slipped through someone's hands at the gas station or grocery checkout? That realization stings a little, doesn't it? And that's exactly why awareness matters. Before we get deeper, here's a quick question to reset your attention. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny before spending it? For most people, the answer is somewhere between never and absolutely never. But that tiny moment of curiosity could be the difference between tossing away 1 cent and discovering $995,000. Now, you may be wondering what exactly makes a top-grade 1995 D penny so valuable. The strongest examples share a collection of traits that elevate them from common to extraordinary. First, the strike must be razor-sharp, with crisp details in Lincoln's hair, jacket, and lettering. Next, the coin must show virtually no marks, scuffs, or signs of handling. Even a tiny scratch, something you'd never notice with the naked eye, can drop the value dramatically. Then there are the special cases. Those struck with early die states, showing dramatic clarity, unusual brilliance, or mint-born quirks collectors love. These are the traits auction houses describe as breathtaking, and they're the reason top-quality coins ignite bidding wars. And here comes the cliffhanger. The most valuable 1995 D coins weren't necessarily discovered in coin collections. Some came straight out of circulation, found by ordinary people who simply paid attention. Imagine checking your pocket change one day and realizing you're holding a near-pristine example that's been hiding in plain sight for nearly 3 decades. That's the kind of discovery that turns everyday people into overnight success stories. But let's be honest, not every 1995 D penny is worth 6 figures. Many are worth a few dollars, maybe a few hundred in high uncirculated grades. Yet the possibility, the dream, that yours could be one of the exceptionally rare, museum-quality specimens is what fuels the hunt. And this is where people who take action separate themselves from those who simply wish for more. Wealth doesn't always come from giant leaps. Sometimes it comes from turning over small stones, small coins, until you find the one that changes everything. If you've watched this far, there's something in you that recognizes opportunity when it appears. Maybe you have a jar full of pennies that's been untouched for years. Maybe you inherited old change from a parent or grandparent. Or maybe you're just now realizing how much money could be hiding in the most unexpected corners of your home. But here's where urgency comes into play. As more collectors discover the truth about the 1995 D penny, more people will start searching, grading, and selling. High-end examples are being bought quickly and locked away into private collections. Once they're gone, they rarely reappear, which means the window to sell one at its peak value is narrowing. Here's another thought to jolt your attention. What if someone else finds and sells their coin before you even start looking? What if the next $1 million auction record belongs to a coin you unknowingly already own? That little wave of fear you just felt, that's your signal. Not panic, but possibility. It's the reminder that time doesn't wait, and wealth loves the people who act early. The market for rare pennies is stronger than ever. Collectors in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, many with disposable income and a passion for American history, are fueling demand. As they compete for top examples, prices continue to rise. A strong market, a rare coin, and a limited supply is the perfect formula for value growth. And if you're someone looking to build real wealth or unlock funds hidden in your own home, understanding coins like the 1995 D penny is one of the smartest moves you can make. Now, let's step back for a moment. Think about how many people dream of financial independence but never take tangible steps toward it. They wait for the right moment. They hope for a miracle. Meanwhile, others build their wealth piece by recognizing opportunities that hide in ordinary places. A small coin, a small choice, a small moment of awareness. That's all it takes to shift your story. As we close, I want to leave you with one final cliffhanger. Something to think about long after this video ends. If a penny from 1995 can be worth nearly $1 million, what other coins are quietly increasing in value right now? What other treasures are waiting for someone with the curiosity to look, the courage to act, and the wisdom to hold on until the right moment? Maybe your life-changing discovery is already in your possession. Maybe it's sitting in a dusty box, a forgotten drawer, or a jar of loose change. Or maybe you'll find it tomorrow when you least expect it. Either way, opportunity rarely knocks loudly. Sometimes, it jingles softly in your pocket. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of change, and discovering a single penny. A penny so rare, so mysterious, that it has sold for over $200,000, and experts believe the right example could command millions. Sounds impossible, right? But that is exactly the story behind the 2005 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin quietly circulating in pockets and purses just 2 decades ago. And right now, collectors across America are desperately searching for the few surviving examples with the rare traits that make them unbelievably valuable. If you want to know whether one of these coins could be hiding in your home, do not even blink, because what comes next might change the way you see every penny for the rest of your life. For most people, the 2005 Lincoln penny is nothing more than another coin tossed into a drawer, but the truth is far more dramatic. Several extremely rare variations of the 2005 D Mint penny, coins struck with minting errors so significant and so breathtaking, have exploded in value over the last few years. One verified specimen recently sold for around $205,000, and collectors believe the next discovery could break into the $1 million range. Think about that for a moment. One sent into hundreds of thousands. A simple penny becoming a life-altering opportunity. Who wouldn't want to check their change just a little more carefully after hearing that? It's incredible how these stories always begin the same way. Someone is cleaning out a garage, organizing old boxes, or rummaging through a forgotten drawer when they spot a penny that looks different. Perhaps the color catches their eye. Perhaps the mint mark looks unusual. Or maybe they sense something is off but can't explain why. And in most cases, they toss it aside. Maybe you've done that too. Maybe, without knowing it, you've held something extraordinary for a moment and let it slip away. That fear, that little whisper of "what if I missed my chance?" is exactly why so many people are now revisiting their old coin jars with renewed excitement and urgency. The 2005 D penny is special because of a perfect storm of minting conditions, production mishaps, and extremely limited error survival. During this year, the Denver Mint produced over 3 billion pennies, but within that huge ocean of normal coins, a handful came out different. Some were struck on the wrong planchet, giving them a dramatic off-color or incorrect metal composition. Some were double-struck, leaving behind ghost-like images that should never appear on a regular penny. Others were clipped, broad-struck, or misaligned in ways that only a seasoned collector can recognize instantly. And then there are the storybook-level rarities, coins showing major die breaks, cuds, and even rare transitional errors that make collectors' hearts race. These are the pennies capable of reaching six figures, and potentially far beyond. Most people assume wealthy lifestyles begin with big business deals, huge investments, or strokes of luck that only happen to others. But every year, ordinary Americans discover hidden fortune in pocket change. The emotional shock alone is almost universal. First, disbelief, then curiosity, followed quickly by a rush of adrenaline so strong you could probably power a city with it. And why wouldn't you feel that excitement? A coin worth $205,000 could pay off a mortgage, eliminate debt, or build the financial security many dream about but never truly reach. And yet, here it is, waiting silently in circulation, tucked into piggy banks, stuck in old envelopes, and forgotten in kitchen drawers. What makes this even more fascinating is how incredibly overlooked the 2005 D penny still is. Ask someone to name valuable penny years, and you'll hear things like 1909, 1914, 1943, 1955. But hardly anyone mentions 2005. It's modern. It's recent. It doesn't look rare at first glance. And that's exactly why so many collectors consider it a goldmine for new finders. The demand is enormous. High-grade examples are scarce, and the few that do appear at auctions create bidding wars intense enough to make even seasoned investors raise an eyebrow. Imagine watching a room full of experts fight over a tiny copper coin like it's the last treasure chest on Earth. That tells you something about value. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. The highest value 2005 D pennies are not always the ones with the most dramatic errors. In fact, in some cases, subtle variations, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, can be worth more than bold, obvious mistakes. A microscopic doubling on the lettering, a faint die crack along Lincoln's coat, polished die that creates a rare finish. Even a minor off-center strike, if perfectly preserved, can attract elite buyers. And that means one thing: you might already have a valuable penny, even if you think it looks normal. Now, you might be wondering how rare these coins really are. The truth is, fewer than a few dozen major error 2005 D pennies are known to exist. Some experts believe most were destroyed, tossed aside, or quietly lost. But there is always the possibility that more are still out there. And if history has taught us anything, it's that life-changing discoveries happen when people least expect them. Someone could find one today. Someone could find one tomorrow. Someone could find one while watching this very video. Why not you? Of course, finding a six-figure penny requires careful eyes and a bit of patience. It also requires the willingness to look. And that's where so many people stumble. They assume opportunities arrive in big, loud packages. But sometimes they arrive quietly, disguised as something ordinary. A little circle of copper weighing 2.5 grams. Isn't it funny how something so small can carry the weight of such enormous possibility? If you want to know whether you're holding a potential fortune, start by checking the basics. Look for the D-mint mark just below the date. Examine the edges. Study Lincoln's face for doubling or distortions. Check for off-center strikes, missing details, extra thickness on the letters, or unusual metal coloration. If anything feels off, even slightly, trust your gut and seek a professional evaluation. Many high-value coins are discovered because someone simply asked the question, "Is this what I think it is?" Sometimes, that's all it takes. The excitement of finding a rare coin is powerful, but there's also a quiet fear that keeps people motivated. The fear of missing out on something life-changing. Imagine hearing that someone across the country found a 2005 D penny worth over $200,000, and realizing you had dozens from that same year but never bothered to check them. That little sting of regret is what pushes many people to act quickly. After all, opportunities like this don't wait. Coins disappear, markets shift, collectors move on. But right now, at this moment, the 2005 D penny market is hot, active, and full of potential for anyone willing to look closely. And as the value continues to climb, the upper ceiling becomes unpredictable. Experts whisper about the possibility of $1 million sale if the right specimen appears. A flawless mint-era masterpiece with eye appeal strong enough to command the rarest tiers of demand. Imagine that auction. Imagine seeing the hammer fall. Imagine holding the coin that starts the bidding war of the decade. That kind of moment doesn't just build wealth, it builds legacy. What's even more remarkable is how stories like this inspire people across America to look differently at their own lives. Because if something as humble as a penny can become a symbol of wealth, opportunity, and hope, then maybe the path to a wealthier future is closer than you think. Maybe it's sitting in your home right now. Maybe the next great discovery is already in your possession, waiting for you to notice it. So before this video ends, consider this simple question. When was the last time you checked your spare change? Not glanced at it, really checked it. Because as unbelievable as it sounds, the next person to find a rare 2005 D penny might be watching this video, holding onto a coin they've seen 1,000 times without realizing its true worth. That person could be you. And if you've ever wanted a moment that could create real financial change, a moment that could help you move closer to the wealthy lifestyle you dream about, this might be the simplest and most unexpected opportunity you'll ever have. All it takes is a little awareness, a little curiosity, and the belief that fortune doesn't always appear in gold bars or treasure chests. Sometimes, it appears in copper. So take a deep breath, empty those jars, open those drawers, and start searching. Because the next 2005 D penny worth $205,000, or even millions, has to be found by someone. And the most exciting possibility of all is that it could be you. Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking that old jar of coins in the kitchen drawer, and realizing one of them isn't just worth a few cents, but could be the key to transforming your entire financial future. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet every year, ordinary Americans discover that a simple penny, often a coin they've ignored for decades, holds the power to change their lives. And today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and misunderstood treasures of modern coinage. The 2006 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that the market now values as high as $206,000, with some rare variants sparking bidding wars that stretch into the millions. Yes, millions. It's the kind of number that makes you check your pockets a little differently. But before you go running for your spare change, stay with me, because the truth behind this coin is deeper, stranger, and more inspiring than you might expect. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this penny has shocked collectors across the country, you'll also know exactly what to look for so you can discover whether you've been sitting on a life-changing opportunity without even knowing it. It all begins with one of the most overlooked periods in modern American minting history. The year 2006. On the surface, the Lincoln penny looked the same as it had for decades. Same color, same portrait, same familiar feel. For most people, nothing special. But for collectors, especially those paying attention to the Denver Mint, this year quietly marked the birth of a numismatic anomaly that no one expected. A small number of 2006 D pennies left the mint with subtle, almost invisible imperfections that would later redefine their value in unimaginable ways. For many of the people who found them, the discovery didn't happen under dramatic museum lights. It happened by accident, during a garage cleanout, while rolling coins for the bank, even while searching through old birthday cards tucked away in closets. Ordinary people, ordinary lives, extraordinary luck. And that is where the fear creeps in. Because for every person who found one of these rare coins, there are hundreds more who unknowingly spent them, tossed them, or left them collecting dust in a forgotten jar. If that doesn't make you want to double-check your coin stash tonight, nothing will. Collectors refer to these rare examples as the pinnacle of modern mint errors. Some display dramatic double dies. Others reveal striking misalignments. A few show oddities so precise they appear intentional, and that mystery only fuels their value. The finer the condition, the sharper the details, the higher the stakes. And the highest graded examples? They've already pushed valuations into the $206,000 range, with estimates claiming that certain pristine variants may one day cross the $1 million mark. Who would have thought that a penny made during the era of flip phones and MySpace could compete with some of the rarest coins in American history? But that's exactly why this coin matters. It represents possibility. It represents the idea that wealth doesn't always hide in luxury vaults or stock portfolios. Sometimes, it sits quietly in plain sight, waiting for the right person with the right knowledge to uncover it. And that person could be you. Still, the story wouldn't be complete without understanding why these coins have captured the imagination of investors and collectors alike. The market value isn't rising by accident. Over the last decade, rare coin investments have surged as Americans search for safer, more tangible ways to protect their wealth. While housing markets fluctuate and digital assets swing wildly, high-grade rare coins, especially error coins, have demonstrated surprising stability and growth. When a 2006 penny crossed the $100,000 threshold, it wasn't a fluke. It was a signal. But here's where the excitement intensifies. Experts predict that the supply of high-grade 2006 era pennies is extremely limited. Not because they were never minted, but because most of them were never saved. They were circulated, damaged, scratched, worn down. The window to find one in near-perfect condition is shrinking by the day. Every year that passes makes untouched examples rarer and far more valuable. The urgency is real. You don't get opportunities like this with most modern coins. Of course, by now you're probably wondering, what exactly makes one of these pennies worth thousands or even millions? What should you look for? And more importantly, what if you've already had one pass through your fingers without realizing it? Don't worry. You're not alone if that thought just made your stomach flip. The key giveaways often hide in the fine details. Doubling on the date, distortion on Lincoln's profile, unusual metal spread, striking anomalies around the lettering, the mint mark, or the rim. Sometimes the imperfections are bold enough to catch the eye instantly. Other times, they reveal themselves only under magnification. That's why collectors, especially those searching for wealth, treat their coins like treasure maps. Every scratch, every shine, every curve tells a story. And in rare cases, the story ends with a payout larger than most retirement accounts. But the numbers aren't what inspire people the most. It's the transformation. Imagine paying off your mortgage with a coin you found in a drawer. Imagine funding your child's education, starting a business, or finally living that wealthy lifestyle you've dreamed of. All because you took the time to examine something most people overlook. That's the magic of numismatics. It rewards curiosity. It rewards knowledge. And it rewards people who take action rather than waiting for wealth to fall from the sky. The truth is, we all walk past opportunities every day. Some people ignore them because they're too small, too ordinary, too easy to dismiss. But the people who rise, who elevate their lives, who step into a future of abundance, they look closer. They question. They search. They check the coins others don't even bother to count. And sometimes, that small effort is all it takes to open a door to unimaginable reward. Funny how a coin worth 1 cent can teach you more about wealth than a dozen financial gurus. Still, the story of the 2006 penny is far from over. The market is shifting, and collectors are paying attention like never before. Auction houses report growing interest. Private collectors are placing aggressive bids. And whispers across the numismatic world suggest that the highest quality example yet might surface soon, an event that could reset the value of these coins permanently. Whether that record-setting coin is already in someone's possession or still waiting to be found is the lingering question that keeps collectors up at night. And here's where the cliffhanger becomes real. What if that coin is sitting in your home right now? What if you're just one careful search away from discovering it? The idea seems outrageous, almost comical. Yet history proves, again and again, that the greatest finds often appear where no one expects them. After all, would you expect a 2006 penny to be worth more than a Ferrari? As you start checking your own collection, remember this: wealth favors those who look deeper, who take their future into their own hands, who understand that opportunity doesn't always come wrapped in gold. It sometimes comes coated in copper. So take a moment. Open those drawers. Look through those jars. Search the places you always meant to clean but never quite got around to. You're not just looking for a coin. You're looking for a chance. And chances like this don't come often. That if you've ever dreamed of stepping into a wealthier, more abundant life, this is where it begins, with awareness, with curiosity, and with the knowledge that something small has the potential to reshape everything. And as the story of the 2006 penny continues to unfold, one thing is certain: someone out there will make the next big discovery.